So cryptocurrency started with Bitcoin, you could say. Bitcoin solved the double spend problem in a way that wasn't very scalable. There's been a revolution in payments.
Democracy, poverty reduction, and cryptocurrency.
Communities get their own currency.
Decentralized social networks.
Part of the agreement among the exchanges would be that we would all allocate credit using the same basic principles and protocol. So this would make sure that exchange A does not overissue credit in relation to exchange B. So we make sure that we're following the same basic procedures. It's just like when a bank wants to issue a Visa card or a MasterCard, there's a massive agreement that they have to adhere to in order to qualify to use that shared brand. So
what you're describing here, the protocol that's shared, is actually the second generation of Web3. That's Ethereum and smart contracts. So I just want to quickly outline. So cryptocurrency started with Bitcoin, we could say. Bitcoin solved the double spend problem in a way that wasn't very scalable. It can't handle many transactions at the same time. Actually, it can handle extremely few, but it's very secure. So it's mostly used for settling large amounts, like what you're saying. It could be settling the trade imbalance between New York and Paris, let's say. So that is Bitcoin. Ethereum generalized the system of mining blocks and putting them on the blockchain by saying, why have only one type of transaction, which is to say moving money from A to B? That's really boring. If we have a system that we call, trustless, meaning you don't have to trust an individual entity. You're right. When you go on an airplane, there's lots of moving parts, and you do have to trust a lot of things. But when you're doing one thing only, which is moving money on a public ledger, the computer scientists have come up with ways to do a consensus between all these computers around the world that don't know each other, don't trust each other. And one way to do consensus, which I would argue is actually pretty unscalable and wastes a lot of electricity, is proof of work mining. Proof of work consensus. So you get a consensus about every transaction in the world is going to go on this block. And if you don't pay enough money, fees, you're not getting on that block. So it's a very limited space, but it's expensive, but it's secure. So that's how Bitcoin works. Ethereum said we could have multiple types of transactions. We could have computer languages, which they call Solidity, and so on, instructions that are executed on essentially a virtual machine. So typically when I write some computer code, it's executed on my computer or on one computer, maybe a server, but it's executed on that one machine. With Ethereum, it's actually executed on all the computers, and it costs a lot of money. It's like a glorified mainframe, except the mainframe is being run by 10,000 computers. One of those computers solves the double, finds the block, mines the block by solving the hash problem. That block doesn't contain, it doesn't contain transactions only moving money. That's Bitcoin. But it contains transactions of the type of instructions like store this in this variable, add this, subtract that, concatenate two strings together of text, and so on. So what you're talking about, having a common protocol, would be expressed in what is called a smart contract. It's essentially a program written on a programming language that runs on this blockchain. And therefore, what it opens up is a world where you no longer have to trust anyone in the sense of you don't have to trust a bank or an auditor to do some operations and report to you the result. Instead, you only have to trust that these 10,000 computers are going to execute your smart contract exactly as it has been written. So if your contract says that reject the transaction if this is the case, or that balance is less than that balance, move this to that, and so on. That's what Ethereum is. So it's a second generation of Web3, which basically generalizes the transactions from move money A to B. That's only one type of instruction, to basically an arbitrary. So it allows people to create governance mechanisms that you can trust are taking place. Like there's no way for me to violate the smart contract if I get in there and I interact with it.